welcome back to episode 17 of the Hooked on NRL SuperCoach podcast. I'm your host, Sol, and I'm joined by my co-host, Fish. How are you, Fish?
Good, mate. Good. The week that was, what a absolute letdown. Had a disappointing week, to say the least. Actually wigged out on some last minute trades. Spoiler alert, I brought in Turbo and it has ruined my mood this afternoon with him reportedly carrying a knock into the last, I don't know what it is. He's gone for this week. Hopefully he's back for next week. I'm just going to have to hold, but we got Origin Wednesday, so I'm keen for that. And
Yeah.
also Liverpool are champions. So ole, ole, ole.
Yeah, good stuff, lad. Good stuff. Yeah, Turbo's a bit unfortunate news, isn't it? He's re-aggravated the cork injury I think that he had, and yeah, for buyers that's a really stiff blow, hard way to go out, and yeah, you just can't write about those sorts of things. And we'll get to my sort of dud buy as well. I had a bit of a similar story with bringing in Paul Alamotti, just to find out that he's been dropped from the Panthers.
Yeah,
So I was
not
huge
quite
on him last
sure
week.
what's up with that.
Yeah, a bit annoying. So bit of carnage from both ends there, but play on and yeah, here's to another night talking super coach with you, mate. I'll hand that back over to you.
That's it, mate. That's it. So, big shout out, guys. We've done it. Said the celebrations. Woo woo. 100
100 subs.
subs, 100 big ones. So, massive congratulations to us, but shout out to you guys because you're the reason why we're doing this. We're getting through the content. We're hoping you get some good enjoyment out of this. You're getting some good Supercoach knowledge, some good NRL knowledge, and just you enjoy listening to us. So yeah, if you do enjoy listening, don't forget to like looking at last week's episode. It's 20 likes. Like 20 of you guys have liked
Good
that video.
stuff.
We
Yeah.
appreciate that. We
Thank you very
we love
much.
all the support. We love all the comments, which we'll get into very shortly. But just before we do, mate, any words for our 100 subs?
Yeah, well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for everyone that's been there, even if you just joined our podcast last week or if you've been here since pre-season when we first kicked it off. Massive, yeah, thank you to everyone that's been following along the way. And yeah, we really appreciate it. And we'll keep pumping out the content, even on nights like tonight where we're both a bit down about TLT. I just finished work about 15 minutes ago as well, a bit tired. And Fisher, we didn't know if this podcast was going to go ahead, but we will keep pumping it out. And keep staying consistent with it. We're really looking forward to building on this podcast and providing, hopefully, what is good or decent Supercoach content for you guys.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys do appreciate us. We're trying to be staying consistent. We're going to keep the channel growing, sort of onto the next sort of big things for us, which will come as we sort of touched on in the new year and next season. But for this season, we're just trying to learn and grow as much as we can. So yeah, any constructive criticism, any comments, good, bad, anything, let us know in the comment. We appreciate everything. We read it all. And so yeah, just again, massive shout out to you guys. So yeah, thanks for liking, commenting, and subbing. Talking about commenting, we've got last week's comments. Oh, and just as I do that, I've nicked the bloody cord, so we've lost the comments. Do you want to waffle for 30 seconds, mate?
No, I saw the first comment. It was great work, guys. Keep up the good work. So obviously, thank you. Thank you for the positive feedback. Yeah, we really appreciate it as we touched on. You got anything to say on that one?
No, mate, we've seen your comment a couple of times, SMK. So yeah, we appreciate you coming
Absolute
back.
legend.
Hopefully you enjoy it, mate. Yeah, you legend. Moving on to our next comment, mate. Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, I'll take this one away because I believe, yeah, I sort of connect closely with this comment. Aaron Clark for the bet. Aaron Clark got up. You, you owe me a 10 pack, 10 pack of CCs. Yeah, as simple as that, mate.
It
So
is,
yeah,
mate. Simple as that. I'll pay it. I did think I will pay. I did think that the Sharks were just going to do so much better than they did, which we'll get into sort of the week that was in a bit. But Sharks were just terrible. So obviously AFB just didn't get the minutes. It's kind of come out after the game that he's actually been playing with an AC joint injury. So for him to even take the field and get 55 points and a ton the week before that, like couldn't be more stoked as an owner. But yeah, hopefully rests up well and is back and better than ever. But yeah, Aaron Clark's just so solid. So couldn't knock the buy. And yeah, I'll be buying you a 10 pack of CC, mate. Moving
easy,
on
thanks.
now to our final comment. We've got I'm gunning for that top 1K finish. 19th in the league at the moment. So I believe this is Garrett actually. Big Will. Don't have Teddy and thinking of leaving it until round 15 now. He's
Jeez,
then
well,
replied to the comment, I see you've just talked about doing the same. Great minds think alike. That they do, mate. That they do. It's been a tough ride not owning Teddy, and I am scared. Likewise, but on the weekend, it kind of paid off. Going without Teddy, Captain Turbo, another spoiler, but Captain Turbo on the weekend and actually outscored both pretty much most of the C options. So I was happy with that. But unfortunately, he's going to be scoring 0 this week, and Teddy will be scoring. So yeah, tough pill to swallow there for sort of Turbo owners or Teddy faders, but has sort of been the story of my season. So sorry for breaking Turbo. It's probably my fault, guys.
that's it,
Yeah,
bud.
that's just my sort of luck of the season. And to be even 4K, 5K, the rank I am, it's pretty remarkable actually to think about all my captaincy options and everything as well. So yeah, hopefully you didn't go with Turbo. But yes, mate, hopefully you get that top 1K finish and keep flying up the leagues. Anything you want to touch on before it segues nicely into the leagues?
Yeah, obviously I'm a Teddy owner, but yeah, it was a bit of a underwhelming sort of performance. But 68, you sort of take that any day, especially against the Sharks, who are notorious for being quite good at preventing Supercoach points from fullbacks. But then again, the Roosters put on a lot of big score, and Teddy, sub 70. I think you would take it as a non-owner, and yeah, like hopefully he didn't buy Turbo, mate.
Yeah, and I just touching on Teddy quickly, I actually think he had a really bad game. He was on about 37 points till about that last Aidsy sort of try for him that knocked him up a bit. And then he somehow got that try assist in update. So kiss on the dick a little bit for Teddy owners, but what can you do? It's just when everyone owns him, you just got to antipod these blokes. And blokes like Turbo doesn't get that TA for the second try. It's a cooler TA apparently. But then when Herbie
Full
does
of
it,
sweat,
Herbie
lad.
doesn't get it. When Herbie gets it, Herbie doesn't get the TA. Like,
It's
oh,
a
the story of the season. But the one good thing, which we'll get into after, is actually Kale right. Man, he is good. Man, he is good.
Hmm,
So,
that's it, bud.
moving us over to the leagues. We've actually, I've got green arrows. Believe it or not, I've got green arrows for once, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're moving up in the league, which is good to see. But our renowned king is still on top. Jet Speed Nathan with, is that the same score as me? 946? I'm pretty sure that is. Yeah, we
Might be,
s- we
yeah.
both scored. We both scored the same, mate. So just goes to show you, even the first place super coaches get these runs. Let's actually have a look at his. Let's have a look at his side. What happened?
Didn't have the best captaincy with Clark just getting 65. Had Savala though for
Had
95, which
Savala
was
95, which is AIDS as. Um,
yeah,
God, I can't
good
believe I
captain.
didn't get Savala as well. I'm
Yeah,
annoyed that I didn't buy him, but that's another one that's. But we bought Billy Smith, and he has been Billy shit, really. So
and woeful.
just not ideal for the trades. But
I've
you
got a
got to
bit of a
move on.
funny
So yeah,
feeling that Billy Smith has a good game this week. Seeing that a lot of people have to play him, and just reckon it's going to be one of those weird weeks where he has a pretty decent game.
hopefully, mate, because I've heard that for the past 6 weeks. So
Yeah,
this, hopefully it's this week.
I haven't played him. He's been banned off my 17 list or 18
He's
in
been on the
World
never
Cup.
again list, much like Turbo. Oh, Turbo, man. I
Yeah,
just gut wrenching, isn't it? It's just, first of all, I got to feel for the man. First, second of all, you got to feel for the owners and the purchasers who just got him last week and who've now been struck with an injury. Like that is just unbelievable. I won't dwell on it. We'll move on. I'm being a pretty good sport, but yes, what can you do?
you've got it all. Oh,
Um,
start there.
over to
Yeah,
your team, mate. How did you go with a 990 last
just got
week?
to scroll up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. I finally cracked the top 900, so I'm in rank 878, which is pretty good. I only had 1 week of red arrows, which was the week prior, so take that every day. And this week I've only got two players in the buy with Burden and Hines out, so pretty well set up. I looked Lehigh Hopewade was a bit of a pod call for me to chuck the VC on him and bring him in at 1.6% vice captain ownership, I believe he was. Yeah, I was huge on him, and now with Turbo out, obviously he's going to be playing fullback. So very, very stoked with that buy, and he covers all three major buy rounds. Got him in the draft as well, so one on the chin there. One that I'm not so stoked with, obviously, and I was bigger on this guy last week was Elamotti, and Yeah, I was not expecting the Panthers to dish up that sort of performance and get absolutely smashed by the Knights. And getting 40 in base is solid, but now he's been dropped, which is disappointing. Um, Other than that, obviously, big talking points are Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Lucas. Wow, these two guys are just phenomenal. And Fletcher Sharp at fullback is different gravy. That was the best watch. And I can't believe Tom Jenkins, one of my other players, held Sharp up for that try because Sharp would have had close to 150 had he scored that, which would have been just immense for owners. So yeah,
I'll
can't be
quickly
happy.
jump in on this. I'll quickly jump in. Had the ref cord held, had any sane ref cord held, it
The
wouldn't.
first
His
try
first try wouldn't have been a try. Like we won't get
wasn't
into it
held
too
though.
much, but not a fan at all of that ref. Yeah, the tackle was held, and then he's just
It
gone
was
for
still moving.
any. Obviously, I don't know, but yeah, he did look way better at fullback. I think the Knights just looked way better, and yeah, the Panthers looked absolutely shot. They were terrible. So yeah, I think all their Origin stars, if they can back up, they will because the Panthers need them to. I'm pretty sure they're 17th on the ladder coming
Yeah,
into
they are.
round
They're dead
13.
last, which is very surprising. And yeah, like I guess you take it with Lehigh Hapuade, but you give it, I guess, with Alamotti because yeah, like give and take there. Matt Burden, another one. He had me in all sorts watching that first game on Thursday. Obviously, back in round two, I brought him in and he got injured. Which was, I had to trade him out straight after. He had a lengthy stint. And then I bring him in this round and he goes off for a HIA. He's messed up his jaw and I thought he wasn't going to come back. And I was thinking to myself, there's just no way I bring in Burden twice this season and he gets injured both games, which did happen. And he played a less 15 minutes or so with the HIA going off the field, but 50 in a team that got smashed by 40. Take that every day of the week, and the Bulldogs have quite a good draw, and hopefully Munster backs up for 520k. Very happy with that buy with Burden at number 6, and yeah, I'm going to be playing him when he's off the buy. Other than that, mate, obviously, the only other thing I want to touch on in my side is Olakwatu and Hosking. Hosking, someone that you brought in, mate, even though last week you said you were bigger on Kickow and then you brought him in and broke him. He's got 43 points, which is I'm not too happy with at all, and I'm sure owners aren't happy with. And then Olakwatu as well, very disappointing. 42 points. He's just been disappointing for a while now, and hopefully he can pick his form back up. But I've been saying that for weeks, it feels like. So not too much else. Take the green arrows. First time in the top 900, and hopefully we can keep pressing on from here.
That's it, mate. Side's looking pretty strong for this week, so I reckon you'd be on for a good green arrows again this week, mate. Moving over to my side, we're bet down a bit and we copped an 87 red arrow down at just under 5k, 4.79. How did we go? Well, pretty average. The trade-ins I was relatively happy with coming into today, and then obviously we got the turbo news. But last week I traded in Turbo, I traded in Iro, and I traded in Hosking. Obviously the Hosking I wasn't the biggest fan of, but I had planned my maths to work perfectly this week to just do Naf White to Kolamatangi, but now, which is a trade I'm still going to be doing this week, but now it looks like I might have to do another trade. Shout out to one of my other dud trades of the year, Connor Tracy. Hasn't he just been oh so woeful? I think it was that 17 and 18 points or something. Oh, I don't know. Anywho, shocking. 142 BE. He was someone I was happy to hold, but with the turbo out news, I might have to sell. But apart from that, we'll work our way up. So yeah, turbo captains. You're talking about pod, mate. I captained Travojevic. So obviously I got the vice captain on Herbie on Thursday night, but I couldn't vice captain Turbo. So I just straight up balls to the wall sacked it with Tommy Travojevic C, which I think was 1.1%. Not as big as my like 0.1% Karaz a couple of weeks ago when I brought him in, but still super duper pod. 72 points. Yeah, look, scored more than Herbie, scored more than Hines. I'm pretty happy with that as my captain. I take it. Moving on to centers, yeah, Iro just keeps getting it done every week. You just got to get him in. His average now for the year is 82 points, which is just insane. So Iro and Herbie are two blokes that I'm just loving to own at the moment. Garrick just hasn't seen any ball that side. I don't know if it's
It's
coinciding with
very, yeah.
Olakawatu's lack of output or DC. I don't know what's quite happening. It's gone to the left a bit more, which is boosting Lehigh's stocks, I suppose. But yeah, not quite sure what's happening there. Tamale just consistent as Jenkins looking like he might get another run around in my side this week now that he's named over Alamotti. And yeah, Billy Smith, just another plotter 43. Hines is 68. Dylan Lucas hyped him up at the start of the year. He has just been so good. An 86 average. He has just been for that dual center wing and second row flexibility as well. I think he's honestly one of my boys. I just love him so much. He's such a good player. He really exploited who was the seven?
Schneider.
Yeah, he really exploited that Schneider combo because Schneider just could not tackle him and they just ran it all day. And I think he was on 110 points at like the 30th
It's
minute.
ridiculous.
It was absolutely absurd viewing. But yeah, look, mate, he's an absolute gun. And then Taps and AFB wasn't the conditions to quite suit their games, obviously. But look, just a consistent score, but nothing really to like. This is kind of the week where we need these guns to score big or to score out to help us the big rank movements. But yeah, look, didn't quite get that this week apart from Iro, but at least I brought him in. So yeah, look, just another week and now Turbo out. So it just seems like the nightmare just continues to get worse for my side. But what can you do, mate? Which brings us nicely into TLT for the week.
We'll come at TLT a bit differently today. So we're not going to read out all the mash changes. Fisher and I, before the podcast, have sort of glanced our eyes over team lists here. So we'll just give you guys a general thought and see if we can roll through this and get straight to trades in our team. So Tui Pelote back for the Dragons is huge news. I've got him in the draft, so I'm very stoked about that. Not too much else from the Dragons side to touch on, apart from Couchman is also back as well, but coming off the bench with a big break even, so wouldn't be looking at buying him. But Dragons players do have the round 15 and round 18 major buy coverage. So someone like Tui Pelote is someone that you could definitely have a look at. Same as Pacifici Tonga. I know he didn't do too well last game, but he could see bigger minutes over the Origin period, and he's going to cover two major buy rounds. So, not too much else from that side of things to touch on, mate.
Yeah, agree, mate. There, you covered pretty much most of it. Only other things, LKT retains his spot, keeps a 6 against this Knight side. More than happy to play him this week. I will have to be playing him this week, so hopefully the young Mike boy will really step up and should have shown what it's worth. But apart from that, the only other shout, Hamish Stewart, I think about 420k, dual front row, second row, still a low break even. I think he's going to get massive minutes increase now with all the injuries, and he's just someone I like. Not quite, it's an awkward price range, but someone around there for the dual, I don't mind it.
I don't know, mate. Three middle forwards on the bench. I actually prefer Luciano Leilua with Dylan Egan doing his ACL. Luciano Leilua is now under 400k. We've seen him play big minutes on the edge. He could be good value now, and I would probably rather go. I would rather go him over Hamish Stewart, I think.
Don't mind that shout, mate. There, like it. For the Knights, unfortunately for Sharp owners and fortunately for any Ponga owners that are left, I suppose. Ponga's name to back up. Sharp, I don't think you should buy now. I think you've sort of missed his big score. Everyone's already on now. And for someone that doesn't own like myself, he's just going to be someone I'm just going to anti-pod now. But I see people out there that are buying him. Would you still recommend him as a buy, mate?
Oh, I
Back in
mean,
the 6.
tough one. Like it's a pretty decent matchup still against the Dragons. I think he's just such a good watch. Like I would rather have Sharp over Herbie, honestly. And well, that's reflected in my side, but you might beg to differ there with having Herbie in your side. Sharp, I think they're averaging the exact same, but Sharp's just got the ceiling. He's tonned on a few occasions now. Herbie hasn't got a ton to his name, for example. Sharp can really hurt you. As we saw last week. He covers the next buy. He doesn't have a buy this week. I can get around the buy, I think, still.
Like it, mate. Yes. Apart from that, though, not too much happening. Dylan Lucas, would you still buy him? He is someone I would still
Yes,
buy.
100%.
100.
I've just going on Dylan Lucas. Like I've got him in our draft league as well, and I was tossing up whether I would trade him for Nathan Cleary, and I honestly don't know because he's that good. And we were massive on him in the preseason. But yeah, he's so good, and I think you need to break the bank to get him in. If you don't have him, I would be 100% getting him in. There's no way I would go without him.
That's it, mate. For this game, oh, obviously, I had the tip of the week, tip of the year last week with the Dolphins. What an absolute upset that was. I kind of was big on it on the potty. I couldn't believe they were like $3, $3.50, something
Hmm.
absurd. And they really ran away with it. I can't even remember the final score. I think it was
It's like
44-4.
48. Yeah,
Yeah,
something.
so something silly. And it actually came out after the game that for Herbie owners that he had only just flown out of hospital that morning, that afternoon, sort of thing, to come down and play in the squad because he'd been in hospital for the past couple of days with an infection on his leg. So for him to come play to score as he usually does and to score 75 or 70 whatever as he does every week, like that's a remarkable effort. And I think once he's back to full health, we're cheering with him. But yeah, for this game, I think the Dragons win this coming off the bye at home.
I agree,
Dragons
mate.
by 6.
I agree. I'm going to go Dragons by 6 as well. I think they'll be too good, but it's a battle of the shit halves, isn't it? In this game with Cogger against Flanagan. So who can
Oh,
go
did Cogger? I
worse?
think Cogger got dropped.
Oh, sorry, Gamble. Oh, Gamble had
Yeah,
a great game last week, but
Gamble and
Gamble's a
Sharp.
6 and Sharp's 100% a fullback. So I don't know. I don't know what the Knights do there. I'm as a Sharp owner, I'm hoping Ponga doesn't back up. Obviously, I hope he's all good, but I hope he doesn't back up and Sharp. We can see Sharp on that fullback jersey yet again.
As you would, mate. Moving on to our Saturday game, we have the Storm versus the Titans, mate. And what's any interest here for the Titans or the Storm players?
I couldn't bring any Titans in, especially against the Storm. It's just seeing Jalen DeGroot back at fullback and Foran back to the bench is I don't think that's a short term play. I think they just want to keep having Brimson get reps in the six jersey because he is a future six of that club. But someone like Jaden Campbell is still a good buy whenever you can. The Titans do cover the next buy in round 15, so I don't mind that. But against the Storm, it's a bit tough to sell this week. And then AJ Brimson is the other one. Only if he was playing at fullback, though. Those are the only sort of two. Obviously, we both have Tino. Tino's an absolute gun. Burma's a bit too expensive now. The only other two I'd be looking at are Jaden Campbell and Brimson if he was at fullback. And obviously, this game's not ideal to bring either of them in. So pass for me on the Titans.
Yeah, I agree with you there, mate. I agree. I really like the JC buy. I think, as we saw on the weekend, and as my memory serves me from last year, Jaden Campbell on those buy rounds, he was absolutely lethal. Like, as we
Hmm.
saw with someone like Hunt or Fletcher Sharp, sorry, he scored 130 where not he wasn't what's his ownership? You're like 70%, 80, I don't know, something absurd, but he
Hmm.
made you weak if you had him, and if you didn't have him, you really got left behind, sort of thing. So lucky I got blokes like Iro who can ton up and stuff. So it's good to have those sort of blokes. So yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's it,
yeah, for the
mate. That's it.
Titans, nothing much. The only other thing, still no David Fafita, not even in the 24. So
Next week, I think, is where they've got him on penciled in on the casualty ward.
there you go. Yeah. Been a weird season for Fafita. Honestly, should have just gone to the Roosters, but
Yeah.
what can you do? For the Storm, bit more interesting. Another bloke who we haven't seen in a while, Warbrick, still out with concussions and everything. So Folongo's getting a bit of an extended run in the team. Would you be interested in him as a buy, perhaps?
Yeah, just keep your eye on Jack Howarth on the extended bench there in the reserves. You could see Grant Anderson push out to a wing and Farlongo get demoted to the bench or outside the 17. Um, yeah, like this is a great matchup if he does play. He'll be running at Canberra as well, which is ideal. It's good to see all the Storm players' names are backed up though. I know I was counting on it as bringing in Burden last week. he's on the bye. I need Munster to play, otherwise I don't have a 5'8". So hopefully Munster goes through unscathed tomorrow in Origin, and we see him line up for the Storm. In terms of buys, I believe we both have Munster, Pappenhausen. I've got Eli Katoa, who is still a good buy, I
I think
believe
he's at
right
a good
now.
price now as well. I think
Yeah,
he's like
he's a,
650k.
yeah, he is, and unfortunately, I bought him for 760k. So a bit disappointing his output, but I think he's a really good price now, and he's got a good matchup, so could bring him in. And then the other one is Jerome Hughes, who I think could tear up this side. You had him last year, mate, and you know more than anyone how devastating he can be through the buy period. So he's like just over 600k. I really like the buy if you can squeeze him in, or if you've got extra trades, you could even do Hines to Hughes, and then when Cleary goes off for Origin and misses like 2 out of 4 weeks or something, you can get Hines back in and run the Hines Hughes combo, and then get Cleary back in after he's got to run of games to end the
I like
season
that
for
shout.
whoever's going poor, worse. But yeah, I do like
If you
Hughes
got
at the price.
trades,
Yeah, if you got
blokes like
trades,
us who've
which
got, I think we've traded every single week and used all our boosts, so we need to
yep,
start saving him soon. And with things like Turbo, it's just how can I save? How can I save trades when
yeah,
stuff
that's
like
it,
this
lad.
happens? But yeah, I think you nailed it for the Storm. Hughes, as you mentioned, he was exceptional for me last year. He is someone I'm looking at potentially round 15 for Cleary, and then potentially just going without Cleary for the rest of the year and riding Hughes, because I rode him home last year and he scored 180 on the last week of the year to sort of win me that final week against you and come back from the depths. So I
That's
have a
it.
great fond memory of Jerome Hughes. And
Hmm,
even between that time from when I brought to the end of the season, I think he would have averaged 90, 100. He was so good.
yeah.
Obviously, Pappenhausen and
I've
Munster.
actually got a stat on that, mate. Hughes over these five buy period last year, five buy games last year, averaged 99 points, which is just absurd.
There you
Yeah,
go, which is when I'm pretty sure I traded it in. Like he was so good. So yeah, very fond memories of the man and like the buy, something I'm looking at round 15. And yeah, Eli Katoa for non-owners like myself, I like the buy, but I don't love the buy. And the bloke who I'm loving the buy of we'll get to shortly, but I just think he is a way better buy than Eli Katoa. So I will be going down that route. But yeah, look, if you're after two second row forwards, I think Eli Katoa can't knock the buy at all. But he also has misses the round 15 buy, so he's someone you could grab round 16 sort of thing. Anything else for the Storm? In this game, I think the Storm win this quite comfortably. Storm by 18.
yeah. I'm gonna say Storm by 22.
Like it, mate. Moving on to our next game, we've got the Cows and the Tigs, mate. Anything tickling your interest?
Not so much from the Cowboys side. Obviously, we're both Scott Drinkwater owners. Some captain him, some others didn't 2 rounds ago. Um, but yeah, as far as buyers, not really looking at anyone else to buy in this team. The only other one I would potentially look at is Zach Laybutt. I think he's just under 400k, and obviously we know the Cowboys don't have a buy until round 27 from here on, so they're quite a good team to target. It's just who do you target though? Because a lot of their players like Deard and Nanai are in Origin. Robson's in Origin. Cotter's in Origin. So, you're looking at other players who are probably priced where they should be. Zach Laybutt's the only one I believe that is a bit undervalued, but that's sort of all for me, mate. I think Drinkwater is a good captaincy option this week. I'm not sure if you're scarred from 2 weeks ago or not, but I do think he's a shout this week against the woeful Tigers outfit that has been.
Yeah, mate. Woeful no more, but Drinkwater, the mad scientist, perhaps back at it again. My plan originally was to captain Turbo and vice captain Drinky, but obviously the ever evolving landscape of Supercoach, that is no longer an option now. So I might be looking at a VC Pappy and a C Drinky. Won't spoil it. We'll get into it later. But yeah, I agree with you there, mate. You nailed it for the Cowboys and for the Tigers. I think it's a, first of all, good riddance to Lockie Galvin. Big on the get him out camp straight away. We've finally got him out now. We're getting 165k for him to play a month at the Dogs, and then the Dogs have signed him for 750k. So goodbye and good luck. I'm happy we've got rid of him now. We can kind of grow. The team has really sort of been affected by this, I think, with the whole saga. So happy to move on without him, but that also frees up an opportunity, not this week with you see Heath Mason in the six, but I believe the long-term plan and once Finu is back from his injury, he will return to the six jersey. But yeah, Finu is someone I'm very keen on, obviously not named this week, but just moving forward. But yeah, apart from that, not much else to touch on for this game.
Got nothing to touch on for the Tigers really. Just Terrell May, he seems to be the only Supercoach relevant player. Obviously, we saw Uppy have a massive game two weeks ago against the Bunnies, but I don't know. He comes and does this sometimes, and like this is what I touched on a couple of weeks ago is that he needs to be playing 80 minutes for the Tigers look a lot better. And Talon De Silva has since been dropped to the reserve, so I do think it's a good move. And when Uppy plays 80, he's a pretty good super coach option. If he was goal kicking as well, then he'd be an astute super coach option at a pretty dud position in hooker this year. But other than that, mate, not really any interest. Royce Hunt, I'm still an owner, but he had slightly better output starting.
That's
So
good,
hopefully he
mate.
can keep it up and actually make $1 or $2. We'll see how we go.
Don't hold your breath, mate, but hopefully he does something for you. In this game, I think this will depend a little bit on who backs up, but I'm assuming for context, this is being recorded before the Origin, so we don't really know any Origin injuries or any ramifications yet, but we're just going to assume that everyone's going to back up. So, assuming everyone does back up, I think the Cows will win this one.
Yeah, I think the Cows will win this one quite comfortably. I'm going to tip them by 12 points.
Yeah, not quite comfortably. I'm going to go 4. On to our third game of Saturday night. We got the Seagulls and the Broncos. And obviously, the elephant in the water, number one, Lehigh
In the water.
Hopewade. Not Turbo. Turbo, Turbo, Turbo. What have you done to me? I still just can't believe it. Like, he looked
Yeah.
fine in the game. I think the game we've just seen him play, that's the best I've seen him play in ages. And it's come out now that he's re-injured or re-aggravated something. Like, you're
Yeah.
kidding. You're kidding me.
Yeah, it is a bit of head noise, and I think a lot of turbo buyers like yourself were, eyeing up because Teddy went Sharks, Raiders, then buy, and Turbo would have had 3 games up against Teddy's 2, but now it looks like it will be 2 all. On the bright side, though, mate, I can't see any way that Turbo comes back in and gets named an Origin, so he should be sweet for the next big buy. If he is, if he ever is going to be sweet again, we never know with him. But yeah, for myself as a Lehigh Hopewade owner, obviously devastating news for Turbo, but cheering that he is at fullback. And yeah, very stoked with the buy last week. Big on him, got him in all formats. So hopefully he can keep it up.
Yeah, liked him as a buy last week. He was in a lot of my trade plans and iterations, and then Friday came around and I got turbo fever. So obviously it's looked like it's backfired, but I just hope he comes back. And yeah, hopefully, my plan is just to captain him now whenever he's back. So we're gonna ride Captain Turbo for pretty much the rest of the year if he's good. So yeah, that's about it. Only other thing, Seagulls, Olakwatu's really, really cheap now. He's 600K, but he's going to get even cheaper. Someone like myself as a not owner, again, I don't mind the buy, but I think I would prefer Eli Katoa. But even again, I prefer someone else over Eli Katoa, which we'll get to shortly. But yeah, like I suppose, would you advocate for buying or not even?
Oh, it depends who you have in the second row, but probably not. At this stage, he is a really good price, though. I will say I've been watching him closely since I bought, and he's just been very underwhelming, quite lazy. And there is always that sort of um, origin cloud hovering over his head as well. If New South Wales lose, then he could be in the squad. We know that he was named as the 20th man, so yeah, hopefully he can get to his damaging best. But yeah, I haven't seen it in a couple of weeks. I think he's only scored like 2 tries this year, which is well down. Hopefully he can cross this week.
That's it, mate. The only other thing on the Seagulls before we move on, Jazz Tavanga is playing lock again. He's been unreal, I think, since
Yeah,
Jake Travojevic first got injured like a month or so ago.
yeah.
He's like 440K, and I think he scored 80 points or something last week in base. So Geez, I can't advocate for it as a buy, but there's someone a couple of weeks ago I would have loved to buy. So, yeah, obviously, sort of someone we might have missed there, and he has the
Yeah,
hooker duel.
definitely, mate. He's been awesome, but how could we have known that Trbojevic was going to get injured, and even Takiyaho is out this week. So, but yeah, if you did jump on, you'd be very stoked with that. I was having a look at him a couple of weeks ago when I got Riley Smith, who's been solid as well, but not as solid as Jazz, albeit there was a bit of a price difference when I did buy. So yeah, if you jumped on Jazz, you'd be very stoked, and he covers all the buy rounds.
That's it, mate. For the Broncos, still no Reece Walsh, so I'm actually back to the physio on Thursday. So I will follow up with him what the news is there because I actually drafted him in last week on sort of the back of the news that he would be back this week, and now he's not. So bit of pill to swallow there, but
You've been fed porkies, mate.
I've been fed porkies by the bloody physio. I can't believe it. So we'll have to sort
Yeah.
him out. But nah, honestly, not interested in too much. Obviously, Takora comes on to the bench for the Broncos in the 17. That's about the only point of interest. And obviously, hopefully, Payne Haas backs up. But yeah, Cobbo back to the wing after his dreadful game last game at fullback. And we see Jesse Arthur's in a fullback, which I'm a little bit surprised about, but I can't say I'm not surprised about Cobbo being dropped from fullback.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I brought Cobbo in and he was quite underwhelming when I did have him. And yeah, he was injured though, and he did cop an injury. So that was just, yeah, another injury for my side, unfortunately, and had to trade him out. But yeah, like it is him out fullback. Like he's 100% a better player and a better fullback than Jesse Arthurs, in my opinion. But yeah, he didn't look great in that Dragons game, and maybe Jesse Arthurs is quite safe, and obviously he is in the Origin squad as well. So hopefully he goes well. Other than that, we're just as Haas owners, we're both hoping he backs up. Nothing too much else to touch on. Ezra Mam is someone I guess we could touch on. He went absolutely ballistic, has hands and everything good that the Broncos produced for the Dragons. I won't be looking at getting him in. I personally don't like him at all. After he can play footy. He's a gun player, but yeah, I think he should have been suspended for the year. I really do not like the bloke as a person after what he did, and it surprises me that he can get 9 weeks only for that. But then there was an incident. Oh, Marty Tapau gets sacked from the club for
Yeah.
liking a post about Madge Maguire, and then he unliked it, gets fully sacked. But as a man, it's all fine to be drugged up on drinking alcohol, hit a mother and their child, and almost kill them, and you only get
On
nine
the
weeks, and
cloak as
you're
well, on
you're all
bags.
good. Yeah, and you're all good to stay at the club. So bit of a culture issue there, but that's nothing unheard of for the Brisbane Broncos. They're just heartless,
Yeah.
a bit of a heartless club. And we saw that in that Dragons game. They just got no heart, all the talent in the world, but no ticker about them. And yeah, if you can't tell, I can't stand the Broncos organization. So
Yeah, I like I'm not a real big Ezra Man guy, but someone who I do like the buy for is Eddie Brockhurst. So shout out to you, Eddie, ranked around 300, 400. I know he's a big Broncos fan and he probably loves Ezra Mam. So get him into your side, lad. I think he's about 500K, massive score last week. Looks to be, I reckon he'll do well. I think when Walshy comes back, he's really going to open up Walshy and that combo is going to thrive. And I think the Broncos will be better. But for this week, before the Turbo news, I was tipping Seagulls and I was captaining Turbo. But even after the Turbo news, I think I'm still tipping Seagulls, mate. So I'm going to go Seagulls by 8 in this one.
I'm tipping Broncos in this one. Unfortunately, I just think no Turbo is a massive loss, and they're also missing Trbojevic and Takiyaho as well. So I think the Broncos will win, provided Carrigan and Haas back up. So I'm going to go Broncos by 6.
Good stuff there, mate. Moving on to our Sunday games, we've got the Bunnies and the Wars. And finally, we can talk about the big elephant in the room. My boy, I've been keen on him for weeks, probably almost a month now, but we can finally bring him in, and he has been named in the number 10 for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Keon Kolamatangi, mate, what are your thoughts on him?
Massive, mate. I had him last year when he was in the middle. One of I guess my boys, you could say. When he is in the middle, the output is phenomenal, and I saw that firsthand last year, and I will be getting him in again this year. He will get the duel as well in round 18. That was in my trade plans, and yeah, I saved money up in the bank just like you did to get him in. So all we needed to see was him in that front row jersey, and that's enough for me to sort of get him in.
Absolutely agree, mate. I think him named in, as you mentioned, in the prop sort of rotation there, I think he's pretty much a must. I think he is the best buy of the week, hands down. It's not even close. I think you should be doing whatever you really can to kind of bring him in this week because he is just exceptional when he plays in the middle. His base stats are through the roof. Bunnies have got that round 12 buy out of the way sort of thing. So wheels up Kolomatangi. So yeah, love the buy. Would you agree? Would you prefer him over in Eli Katoa or Olakawatu,
Yes.
sort of those sort
Yeah.
of duds?
Uh-huh. Yeah, 100%, mate. I wouldn't call them duds. I'm going to stack them all, have all those boys in my second row. But yeah, I definitely would prioritize him this week, especially with, the middle, with the Bunnies' good schedule. They play every round up until, they play the next two major bye rounds at least. They've got a really good draw. Them and the Cowboys are the ones to target at the moment. Yeah, so Kalamatangi is, well, both being a minimum, both massive on him. Can't advocate it for him enough. The only other one I'll skip on to now is, and we've both eyed him up as well, is Ewan Aitken with the duel at 530k is someone that I think's also a really good buy. We've seen his output in second row has been really good when he has played at second row. So yeah, I think he's a good price, has a great draw, and he's got a nice draw. If you do have Dylan Lucas, you can flick him. Other than that, mate, if you're a pod hunter, you could look at Latrell potentially now that Turbo's out. If you're missing a fullback and you can't afford the Tedesco, like a lot of people, not myself, but yourself, mate, they can't afford Teddy. You could go to Latrell. You could go to
I actually
Latrell.
do like the Latrell shout. Geez, do I just do that?
Yeah, like I don't mind it, but the only
The
thing is the
origins, the bloody
Bunnies.
thing. Hmm.
No, they've just got a really rough draw. I
Yeah,
think they played a
even
Warrior.
though they're playing a bunch of games, as you mentioned, yeah, really hard draw, which is why. Wait, have you touched on Aiken yet? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
let you go, mate.
Yeah, look, love Aiken as a buy. The only caveat is the tough draw. The next 4 weeks aren't best, but his base, I think he should be good for about 50 to 60 over the next four. And then after that, you might get those sort of high upside games. But who's to say that the Bunnies can't sort of show up and beat the Wires? So who
Yeah,
knows? But yeah,
they could. And when I was saying good draw, you probably heard good draw, tough draw, trying to make sense of it. Good draw as in they play the next two major buys and they've got a pretty good string of games, total games together for non-origin players or all together. But bad draw as in the teams they're playing. Doesn't affect players like Kalamatangi who are just base stat beast, but anyone that you want attacking upside from. So like a
yeah,
Latrell, for
Latrells.
example, you want him coming up against the Titans or a weaker defensive or Tigers, a weaker defensive outfit, not a team
Stunt
ranked up
teams
near the
like the
top.
Wires, great. Like
Not a
ideal matchup.
team.
Bring in a Captain Trell. Who says no? I actually might just do it. I might just bring in a Captain Trell. I might
Yeah.
just do it.
Well, I think they've got the Warriors, the Storm, the Dogs, and who's the other? And the Raiders, and the next
Yeah,
four. So
all
it's
the
a
top
whole
four.
top four.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
and
is super
we know the
tough.
Warriors have been very good defensively.
But
So
of the top four games, the Wires would probably be the easiest of those ones. So I think the time to buy Latrell would be now. So I'm very much I'm loving that idea. Obviously, it's Tuesday. I actually didn't even look at teams list honestly until we started recording because I saw the Turbo news come in at work and I was like, oh yeah, that's pissed me off. So what can you do? So yeah, good to see there. I think that pretty much covers it for the Bunnies and for the Wars. Yeah, look, not really much interest in this side. Aaron Clark obviously keeps on getting it done, but yeah, apart from that, it was good to see RTS get a try on the weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, they lost again, so no surprises.
Again, yeah, I think it's our second or third loss of the year, but
Twice to the Raiders, hey.
yeah, geez, I hated the carry on, might I add, from the Raiders, Tamale in particular. Next time you come to New Zealand, mate, you're going to get your head taken off, brother. The Wild's fans will be out in force for you. I can't believe that shit. The Raiders just carrying on, and I've got to sit there and watch that game with the missus as well, who's a huge diehard Raiders fan, so it made it even worse,
Head
unfortunately.
noise.
Yeah, but for the Warriors, not too much from a super coach standpoint. They're just a very quite defensive outfit. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is a good price if you want a bit of a pod center wing, but we don't really have a good draw. Like we don't cover the next two major buys. The only other Aaron Clark 700K, I wouldn't really be looking at it now. Um, Only other thing to note is Leka Halasima, someone I was massive on a couple of weeks ago, has been demoted to the bench, which I can't believe, for Nia Kura. So if you brought him in or if you have him, you would be pretty pissed off about that because he's not going to see the 80 minutes he has been seeing. And unfortunately, he sort of hasn't shown the attacking stats that look like he's so capable of, but he just hasn't been able to grab any yet. So that's all for me, mate, on that one. And I have tips wise, I don't know. I tipped the Wires last week. For everyone that doesn't know, I've all season I've been getting the Wires tips wrong. If I don't tip him, they've been winning, and then I do tip him finally, and they lose to the Raiders. So I don't know. I don't know where I sit on this one. I can't say because I'll probably lose another tip. I went 0 from 5 on the weekend, which was real good. I've dropped to
That's
equal you now
actually
on the tips,
pretty.
mate.
That is really remarkable, mate. I actually can't remember around. Did you tip last week or?
Yeah, lad. Yeah, I did. We're even
Oh, I
now. We're
think that
both
takes
on
some
the same
skill, mate.
amount of tips, all right.
Mate, I think that takes some skill. 0 from 5. Kudos to you, mate. Yeah,
Thanks,
wow.
mate. It's the only NRL sort of thing you've got up on. Oh, you don't even have it up on me. Sorry, we're the same amount of tips. So
By the margins, so I'm above in the
keep
ladder. So, and I'm
keep
the
bugging
champ.
away,
So
lad.
the
You're
king
you're
sort of rests easy with all these sort of things. But yeah, for the game, as you sort of mentioned, not much to touch on for the Wars because they're not very exciting as a watch. For the game, if I'm bringing in and captaining Latrell, I think I got to tip the Bunnies. I'm really warming to this Latrell. Bring him in and see. I just
yeah,
don't know how
geez.
it's going to work with trades or anything. But geez, like after the Turbo news, like just throw the kitchen sink job. But I've got no trades left, so we'll see
I
how
don't,
that goes.
don't mind it, lad. Yeah, if you can't afford Teddy, go Latrell for sure.
Moving on to our Sunday game, Panthers Eels. Anything here, mate? Apart
Yeah, other
from
than the
your, yeah,
gut-wrenching
actually, I'll let you
news
take it
that
away.
Alamotti has been omitted from the side and is in the reserves, that's a bit annoying, but play on. It's whatever. Hopefully, or not hopefully, but hopefully he does come back into the side at some stage. I got faith that he will. At this stage, I'm leaning on holding him and just hoping that maybe Todd doesn't back up. I can't see him being kept out of the side for this caveat of players. Other than that, not really looking at bringing in any Panthers players. They don't have a good buy schedule at all. And yeah, they've got plenty of all their relevant sort of players play Origin, so nothing really to touch on there.
Yeah, agree there, mate. I think if you have Jenkins, now that he's kept the wing spot, I think he's more than fine to hold. And yeah, apart from that, for the Panthers, that's all that interests me. And then for the Eels, Zach Lomax is someone I am a little bit interested in at that sort of 720K price point. I think he's a great pod at center wing. I've sort of got some great sort of pod center wings where they were, not anymore. I think everyone's sort of brought him in now, but Zach Lomax, I think, is someone that possesses that sort of ability to just ton up as well. So, yeah, I like him as a buy. And the only other buy from the Eels I actually quite don't mind, Jack Williams. I think we've seen bring together two back-to-back pretty good games. He's got the duel. He's looking pretty good for the Eels now. I don't mind him as a buy, but yeah, not really too much to touch on here, mate.
Yeah, not interested in any Eels bringing in any Eels players. The only one will be Lomax when he is fully fit. One of my boys from last year had him very early. Copped that famous game where he got 170 and vice captain in that game. So he is such a phenomenal player, especially on the wing. Which it's surprising that he's come out now and said that he's happy to play wing after leaving the Dragons literally for that reason that he was playing on the wing.
That is a bit
But
ironic, isn't it? It's the same as Gus Gould coming out saying the Dogs aren't interested. And where's Galvin going? The
yeah,
Dogs.
just
Like,
yeah,
it's
just
just a bloody joke.
few porkies going around, mate. It seems, but yeah, no real interest in the Eels or bringing any sort of players in. They don't have a great buy schedule either. They've played their major buy round, and now same situation as the Panthers. Don't play any more of the major buy rounds. Yeah, that's all for me, mate. I've got Panthers in this one. I'm going to say by 10, and I think Cleary is another good captaincy option this week. It is a bit risky though because he is backing up from Origin, but I think he loves this matchup, the Western Sydney matchup, and at home. And the Panthers, we've touched on it before, coming last place. They need to turn up.
Yeah, like that. He's also versing his Origin counterpart in Moses. So depending on
Mm.
Wednesday night goes, they might be a bit fired up. So yeah, I like the Captain Cleary shout there, mate. Um, I do think the Panthers win this, but geez, they need to start winning soon. Otherwise, they aren't going to make finals this year. And I think it's taken us ages to even really consider them as not really a good side because I'm pretty sure they've been like favourites most weeks anyway,
I'm
despite them being last on the ladder. So yeah,
going to
they're
throw
really going
this.
to need to turn it around.
I'll throw this over to you. Do you think they make the eight?
Yeah, I still think they do.
Yeah, so do I, mate. We're one of those guys. We're just like the bookies, mate. We're tipping in favourites every week. I I
Yeah.
I think I think they still make the eight. I just can't see a NRL finals without the Panthers in it. It just seems so weird after winning 4 championships. But yeah, seems like we're both backing them in this week, and yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully they get the job done.
that's it. The only our last thing I just want to quickly touch on is Sam Rani for the Eels. Bit of a one that got away. Again, he scored like 70, I think it was on the weekend, made a bunch of cash. Too late to buy now, but if he's someone you brought in last week, absolutely great buy. So I love that there. Moving
Yeah,
on now to our final game of the week, we got the Roosters versus the Raiders, which should be a bit of a cracker, mate.
yeah, it should be. Squid's in the chat for Tedesco or Squidesco. Hopefully he has a big game. Yeah, well, it seems like everyone sort of jumped on now. I had him at, as everyone sort of knows, at 3% ownership from very early days in round 4. Hopefully he can bounce back from a bit of an average 68 points last week. Other than that, it's interesting to see that Nawanawee Tawaze is back on the wing and Toya is looking to back up, even though Dom Young did look quite good out there. I feel like they could easily just not back up Toya, but I guess it is the last game of the round. Toya, if you're an owner like myself, you let him get this one more game in, one more price wise, and then he's going to be close to 600k, and you can flip him to uh, any sort of center wing you want quite easily. Nothing really else to touch on. I think Radley is a bit of a pod option at second row when he does play at lock. He covers all major buy rounds, but I just think that there's other options like Kalamatangi overshadowing him, but I don't mind him as a purchase. And then Blake Steep, last sort of guy, 400k, not really super coach relevant, but saw the Guru made a post about him being the next Boyd Corner, and I don't actually mind that comparison at all. This guy looks like an absolute goal and a rooster, like just a roosters sort of player. And he's been good every single game I've watched him. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. Other than that, mates, nothing really from the Roosters side of things.
Yeah, I think you've covered it well for the Roosters. The only thing I will just quickly mention is, yeah, the listeners won't forget because you'll let us know every week that you brought James Tedesco in at 3%. So for the new
Yeah.
listeners, don't worry. You'll hear it next week and the week after and after and after. So don't worry. You'll hear it again next week. But yeah,
That's
I
it,
think you
mate.
covered the Roosters up nicely. For the Raiders, again, a bit surprised. Well, a bit of a letdown, really. well, not let down, but happy for owners, let down for non-owners, you could say. Tarpany gets off with just a slap on the wrist, which is great to see. I think he was instrumental last week, despite it not really translating to Supercoach. He won the Raiders that game with his just passion. He got those boys up and involved. So I really rate him as a captain. That was a real captain's knock, and it just goes to show when you just start trying hard against the Wires, they'll just crumble. So massive knock there from Taps. And Hosking obviously wasn't the suited conditions for him. I have to play him this week anyway. I have to play everyone. I have 15 men before trade, so that's half the sort of reason I've brought him in, because I need numbers this week. So yeah, like not too
Yeah, I
much
can't believe
else.
you brought him in last week, lad, after saying that you would rather go Kickow and Hosking was a bit of a sheep buy. I jumped on the week before, and then just to see you bring him in
Yeah,
was a bit surprising, and then he obviously was a bit of a letdown. So yeah,
yeah,
hopefully you
mate.
can turn it around and reward yourself for jumping on after multiple people jumped on.
That's it, mate. For my side, like as I sort of mentioned earlier on in the episode, I have the exact funds to go Naf White to Kolomatangi, and the way I got there was bringing in Hosking. And why did I go Hosting over Kikau, who I was more keen on in a 1v1? It's just sort of the round 13 numbers and the funds. Simply, if I had gone Kikau, I would have 14 for this week instead of 15, and I would be even more stuffed. So thankfully, I did bring in Hosking, actually. Unfortunate for Turbo, I suppose, but much of a muchness still. Yeah, apart from that, I think the Raiders will actually win this as well. I don't know if you have much to touch on for the Raiders, but yeah, I think the Raiders will win this game. I think more than Morgan Smithies as well is a great pod shout. I really, yeah, I
I
like
don't
him,
know. He's just a
but
bit
it's
of
just
a
a bit boring.
Yeah, he's a plotter. He's not gonna really like it's
Hosking,
whatever,
yes.
but yeah, like I don't I'm not big on it. I don't have much to touch on for the Raiders. Tarpany, who I don't own and you own, I think's a great buyer, but I do think he's a bit lucky to get off scot-free this week. But yeah, he was great last week despite a few grubby actions. I do think the Roosters win though, contrary to you. I think I've got the Roosters in this by 6.
Thanks for that. And that wraps up another week of the TLT analysis. So now, time for the good stuff, guys. Trades and skipper plans. Do you want to go first, mate, or would you like me to go first?
You're right to go first.
All right, I'll go first. So this is how we lined up last week. We'll just optimize the team just out of simplicity's sake, and you can kind of see we are running with 15. Is it 15 or 4? 15. We've got 15 reserves, so we're in a bit of trouble, aren't we? Would have been 16 if I didn't have Turbo. And then, as I've mentioned a plethora of times throughout this episode, I'm doing Naf White to my boy Kolomatangi, and I've got the exact funds for it. It's the perfect trade. We'll rank it
Oh,
by
you're 16. You're
average.
16, mate. 16 this week. Not too bad.
16 with Colo.
No, I think that's 17.
Oh, do I have a full side?
That's
Hang on,
17 now, I think. One,
we'll
two, three,
see.
four, five, six, seven,
No, it's not, mate.
4, 5, 6,
16 now.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17, lad. With,
Turbo's not
well,
playing, lad.
yeah, do the math, lad. I just counted up.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah. Because it's top 18.
Yeah,
So
lad.
does that mean so I can
Just
just field
quick maths in
17 and
there.
then not one drop out?
Yeah,
That's how that works?
yeah. You'll just have cop all of them. Cop all your 17.
Or I trade Tracy.
Yeah, and have a
Tracy to
buffer.
Aiken.
If you have someone go shit, yeah, you could do that.
Well, we're running out Billy Smith, Jenkins, LKT. So I think there will be a few shitters in there, but look, I'm really loving that second row then. Tino, Dylan Lucas, Kolomatangi, Hosking, and then my sort of nuffs down there with my absolutely stacked front row forward, stacked hooker for no reason, stacked halfbacks, 5'8s. We've got my little cheapie LKT in there, and then center wings just stacked as well. So yeah, look, I might go Tracy to Aiken as my other trade. Obviously, I'll be able to afford it. That actually frees up funds, but I can actually bring in a second row forward as well for 582K. If there's anyone around there. I know Olakawatu just isn't that cheap yet. Probably will be next week. Anyone 580? Uh, Not really in the second row.
I mean, I touched on it before. I don't actually mind Bradley, but
Bradley.
yeah,
I
got
think
70 last week.
Aiken would be the play, and then I could just flick Lucas and Thinger. So if I do end up selling someone, I'll be selling. You know what? I don't think I will do this trade at this point in time, but I'm just going to lock it in for the potty because I very well will probably end up using both my trades, even though in my head I had planned to only use one. Um. So yeah, this way we have 18 then, and then so one player drops out. Yeah, which isn't too bad. And then the side looks really strong actually. Yeah, it looks really really strong. So
Mm.
yeah, maybe I do those trades just to have Aiken and Lucas being able to flick up in between. Phil Connor, Tracy a dud, but it's another buy number I had planned, and I'm running out of trades. Would you do it though?
Oh, I mean, I think I would, especially with the news that Galvin's coming to the Dogs, and there is word around that Burton could be shifted to fullback. It's been shared around multiple sources.
It's been
So I
shared
don't know.
about you a few times, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a shot. Well, I've got to let you know. I've got to let you know after you ripped
Oh,
into me after bringing in Sharp the first week, and then he comes back and Karma sort of struck you with getting 130
he
30
does,
last
but
week.
Euro 103, so not too much of a swing, but wait, well, yeah, I've been I've lost my train of thought. What were you saying? Oh,
Um, I think Tracy's got like a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
150. It's got like a 150 BE. So if you're fine with losing, I guess the cash shouldn't be an issue for anyone
Not an
anymore.
issue
But
for
if
me, lad. Not an issue for me.
that's it, and I
For
think
most team.
he plays the rest of the major buys. I mean, I just wouldn't be confident playing him ever after seeing what we've seen the last 2 weeks, honestly. And
So,
there's been a lot of news going around that the Dogs that Reid Marnie is on the out of at the club, and Crichton's suffering an injury at the moment. So they could come back and be in a bit of like disarray because they've had quite a few headlines. Galvin's at the club now. I don't know. I don't know how it all works out, but yeah, like if it was me, I would probably be looking at either a Hines to Hughes trade or a Tracy to cut the losses on Tracy and go Aiken. I think Aiken feel a lot safer playing him than playing Tracy. Full stop.
yeah. Can't say I disagree there, mate. I think the more I'm looking at my side and looking how strong it looks, I think I'm gonna do it. I think, yeah, like then I can have Lucas and Aiken flick between. It's another bloody trade I'm using, but Aiken covers 15 and 18, don't they? Yeah,
Yeah. How
15
many
and
trades
18.
you
Yeah,
on now after that?
it'll be 16. So what's that? One for every round left.
Yeah, we're running low, lad.
Oh, bloody
Yeah,
hell.
looks like at least you're getting the numbers up this week. Hopefully, King Tonga does all right for you.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him at all. To be honest, Jenkins could go all right, could score, and same with Billy Smith. But yeah, yeah, who knows? Who knows what your side could dish up? They could come out and kill it. All you really need to, if this year's shown us anything, if you get your captaincy right, you can have a good week despite all the other
Oh,
rubbish that goes on.
yes. And then speaking of captaincy, we'll go for the moment, which is what it was on after all this turbo news. VC Pappenhausen into C Drinkwater. but I also don't mind the VC drinking and a C Cleary.
Mm.
But yeah, that's me for this week, mate. Are you good to do your trades now?
Yeah, trade. I
Trade,
think,
trade.
yeah, that's
The
it.
first, are you
Finally
saving one,
saving a
mate?
trade this week, people. Um, Finally saving a trade this week. So can you see my screen there? All good. Start from the top. As you can see, you got 75k left in the bank still, even after going Jenkins to Kaloamatangi, which is a trade that I had eyed up previously, and I'm quite keen to just make that move and get the trade done. Um, as far as my team goes, I guess that's not what we want. This is how my team will line up. I will play Sandon over Riley Smith likely, but I could change that. Who knows? Riley Smith's been quite solid for 50. Sandon's got the upside, obviously, so I think I will go him. I won't I could captain Terra May again, but May, Tino Haas, Eli Katoa, Kalamatangi, Olakawatu, Hosking, Cleary, Munster, Lucas Sharp, Garrick, Hopewade at fullback, Pappenhausen, Drinkwater, Teddy, and then obviously I would have reserved Alamotti over Toya had Alamotti been named, but now I'm probably going to go Toya or Billy Smith, depending on how I'm feeling. But yeah, that's the side. Captain will either definitely Pappenhausen will have something on him. Um, Before the week started, I was keen on VC on Sharp if named at fullback and captain Pappenhausen. But now it's sort of leaning towards what you've got: the Drinkwater C, Pappenhausen VC, or Pappenhausen VC and Cleary C, and miss out on Drinky, or May is the other option, which I don't mind as well. But yeah, that's how the side will shape up. It looks like a pretty strong side for this week. Only got two on the bye. Hopewade at fullback is good. I don't really see any weak plays. My weakest play is Sandon and probably Hosking and Toya, but very happy with how the rest of the side looks. I don't. If I get the captaincy right, I should see more greens and hopefully I can push for top 500. I'm pretty happy with where the side's at, and with 17 trades now, should hopefully be looking at saving trades and moving forward from there. As you can see, I've sort of planned it so my team has the numbers for the next major buy and then the buy round after that. So I'm planning not to use any trades unless injury. The only players I would look at trading out, obviously Alamotti, maybe if he doesn't play anymore. Toya after his price rise potentially, but if he's not named in Origin again, I might just hold. And that's pretty well it. Unless injury, like everyone, they all lap over each other. I sort of did the math. They all give me great buy numbers for every single round. The structure of how I've structured my side, and I've still got Hubner who covers both the next major buys as well. So quite happy with it where the side's at, and looking to save trades now from now on, unless injury strikes.
Yeah, mate. Look, I think you're looking in a really good position for this week. Yeah, side's looking really strong. You got some good depth this week. I know someone like myself who's got a lot of sort of the Dolphin and Sharkies players in particular will struggle this week. So yeah, I think you should be on for a good week, mate, and definitely on for Green Arrows.
Yeah, hopefully, mate. Well, you never know though with SuperCoach, and yeah, yeah, the captaincy has a massive swing to it, as we both know. So hopefully, you can get that right. That's another thing, actually. It's 5 weeks in a row now of captaining someone that's gone 100 plus, with Lehigh Hopewade just nipping over 100 last week as my captain loop. So hopefully can keep that trend going. And yeah, whoever I back in out of Pappenhausen, Drinkwater, Cleary, or May sort of breaks that mark.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be my fifth week without a ton captain. So I haven't got over a ton in over a month and a half. So Karaz obviously takes us back to my last sort of captaincy ton, but apart from that, it's been pretty dire straits. So hopefully, at this point I'm just going to captain who you captain. Really, that's the smart play. I just can't pick a bloody captain this year, so we'll see how it goes. Chins up, but yeah, I also forgot I can't afford Latrell to turbo either. So yeah, maybe I just go Aiken.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. That's pretty well all from my side. Nothing really else to touch on there. We can wrap up the episode.
Sounds good. All right. Well, yes. A reminder, guys, thanks for subscribing. 100 subs. We love that. We appreciate it. Again, for all you new listeners out there, don't forget to sub, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment. We usually record these episodes on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So if you want to get your questions into the comments by sort of Tuesday lunch, to definitely be commented, but normal practice is Wednesday. So if you comment at Tuesday night, normally after TLT, we'll get back to you in the next pod. But yeah, this week we're just a week earlier for Origin, and I think that'll be a great way to sort of wrap up the podcast this week, mate. Your Origin prediction and your man of the match.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Blues win this one. Gonna say it will be 18-14 scoreline. No, I'm gonna go 18-10. 18-10 to the Blues. And my man of the match will be, I'm gonna say Nathan Cleary has a big game and silences any Origin doubt.
Don't mind it, mate, but obviously, state of origin, my origin is Queensland. I think Queensland will win. I think Queensland win 24-12, and I think Kalen Ponga silences pretty much everyone and has a cracker game. So he's going to be my man of the match. Bet responsibly, guys. But also go Queensland. Come on, you Queenslanders. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know who you think is going to win Origin. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Easy. Thanks everyone for listening, and cheers, Fish. We'll see you next week.
That's it. Cheers, guys.